Judge, welcome.
Thank you.
You are probably the least productive member of your district court, isn't that right?
Welcome back, patriots, to the Constitution Corner. If you're new here, this is the channel where we speak truth, defend freedom, and take a stand for the Constitution, the rule of law, and good old American common sense. If you're tired of open borders, woke politics, and the collapse of our national sovereignty, you're in the right place. Smash that like button, hit subscribe. Patriots, it's time we talk about what's really happening in our courts. If you thought the border crisis was the only disaster under this administration, wait till you see how Biden's judicial nominees are shaping up. We've got judges who can't define what they signed in legal briefs, can't manage a courtroom, and somehow still think they deserve a promotion. Let's break it down.
Well, I have not considered myself in those terms, Senator.
Well, let me explain what I mean. You have 125 motions pending that you've declined to decide. Let me finish. That's more than any other district judge in the entire Seventh Circuit. In fact, you rank 7th highest nationally, do you not?
I am not familiar with those statistics, Senator Kennedy.
You haven't looked?
I did look in preparation for this hearing, but I didn't compare myself to others.
You haven't seen that you ranked the 7th, the worst in the country in terms of making decisions?
You are the first to tell me this. And I think for me, I stress the quality of my decision making. And as I explained, I came on, I was the first district judge to come on during this administration.
Yeah, but so were all the others. I mean, there have been 68 district judges confirmed in the 117th Congress. In terms of motions pending for more than 6 months, you rank number 3. You all came on at the same time. You all had the same problems with COVID. You're the 3rd worst. You really think of all the other district judges in the 7th Circuit, you're the one that ought to be promoted based on this record?
Senator, this is something that I've discussed with my fellow judges. Many of us new judges from...
I thought you said you'd never looked at these statistics.
I haven't, these particular statistics I am not familiar with. But in terms of new judges, both from the current administration and the former administration, we are quite a collegial bunch. And oftentimes talk about the pressures of a new judge and the way reassignments work in our district, which is that you get, for example, 300 cases.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. I'm familiar with the procedure in federal court. Here's what I'm trying to understand. Why is your record so bad?
Well, I don't view it that way, Senator. When I look at the quality of my decision-making, the feedback that I get from parties,
of course parties are not going to criticize you. They want you to rule in their favor.
I understand, Senator Kennedy.
I mean, that's just the way it works. Help me understand why you have such an abysmal record in moving cases. I mean, it costs a lot of money to litigate, and people are paying lawyers, and time is money. And of all the district court judges in the 7th Circuit, you're the worst in terms of moving cases. Why do you think you deserve to be promoted over all of those others?
So, Senator, again, I'm not familiar with the statistics, but I stand by my record and that I give parties what they need. I think, I am regularly in my courtroom. I am regularly issuing decisions. I just came on at a very difficult time where there was a backlog in the courts.
So did everybody else. Let me ask you, when you were a partner in your law firm, you volunteered to write a brief on behalf of the Brady Center you wrote the brief, and this is what you said. You volunteered for this. You weren't being paid. Is that right?
This was a pro bono case that one of my partners brought in, yes.
You said, quote, assault weapons may be banned because they're extraordinarily dangerous and are not appropriate for legitimate self-defense purposes, close quote. Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Just to clarify there, I was local counsel. Our Supreme...
Yeah, but you wrote the brief. Tell me what you meant by assault weapons.
Senator Kennedy, actually, I did not write the brief. The brief was written by...
You signed the brief, though, didn't you?
Correct. I signed the
When you
brief.
sign a brief, you're testifying to the court that everything in it is true, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they're your words in terms of the court, right?
Well, you're correct, Senator Kennedy.
Okay.
I would never
Tell
sign...
me what you meant by assault weapons.
So I am not a gun expert, and at the time, that brief, I think, was about 10
You
years...
were giving the court advice about, say, ban assault weapons. What is... You told the court you were an expert. Just tell me what you wanted to ban.
Senator, sitting here today, as I said, I did not write that brief. I was local counsel.
Sign the brief.
I understand. At the time...
Tell me what you wanted to ban. That's all I want to know, Judge.
I don't remember the exact definition of assault weapons in the ordinance that was at issue.
So you submitted a brief to an appellate brief, you signed it, and you don't know what, and you said abolish assault weapons, and you don't know what you wanted them to abolish?
Senator, at the time that I signed the brief, I read the brief because our Supreme Court required an Illinois bar member to sign the brief. I was not responsible for researching the content.
You were responsible for the brief.
Absolutely, absolutely. And sitting here today, I do not remember the characteristics of that were cited in the ordinance for the assault weapons ban. It's not an area of practice that I have specialized in. I'm sure 10 years ago I could have answered your question.
And
but sitting here today,
you think you deserve to be
time has
promoted with this record?
Senator, I stand by my record. I stand by my record.
Senator Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to you and your...
This is Senator John Kennedy, a man who doesn't mince words, a true constitutional conservative, grilling a Biden-nominated federal judge who, get this, has the worst record in her circuit for handling cases. That's right, the worst. Let me say that again for the folks in the back. This nominee had 125 motions she declined to decide, ranking her 7th worst in the entire country. And she wants a promotion? Are you kidding me? But wait, it gets worse. I haven't looked at the statistics. Lady, you're being nominated for one of the highest legal roles in the country and you didn't even review your own performance numbers before walking into a Senate confirmation hearing? That's either arrogance or incompetence, and neither should sit on the federal bench. This isn't about party politics anymore. This is about basic competence. The rule of law is under attack when we put activists in robes who can't even define what they tried to outlaw. She signed a brief supporting a gun ban and she doesn't even know what an assault weapon is? Folks, this is exactly how your Second Amendment rights get stripped away by people who don't know what they're banning but feel morally superior enough to do it anyway. She claims she didn't write the brief, just signed it. But in the legal world, signing a brief means you stand by every word. So either she agrees with disarming law-abiding Americans and doesn't want to admit it now, or she's admitting to professional negligence. Either way, this is not the kind of person we want interpreting our Constitution. Patriots, this is what the radical left is doing. Quietly stacking the courts with activist judges who can't even articulate what they supposedly believe in. These people want to regulate your rights, your freedoms, and your family's future. And they don't even have the guts to stand on their own records. This is why we fight. This is why we vote. This is why we back real constitutionalists like Senator Kennedy who still believe in truth, law, and accountability. If you're tired of watching this country slip away one bad nomination at a time, then hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with every patriot you know. Let them see what's going on in plain sight. We're not asleep anymore. Raised fist, we are awake and we are not backing down. God bless you. God bless our Constitution. And God bless the United States of America.